Bitter criticism. Friday. I am in love. I am in love with a twin. I have a twin lover. I mean, those they are twins, but I guess I cannot say who are they are because they are far younger than me. Huh? Well, I don't know what to read. I guess I'm going to read Al Jazeera after watch if IRNA news agency is online. Maybe not. IRNA, where are you, IRNA?
Del ser humano. Como si fuera medio retía. Que dirá Fry, casi todo eso.
Well, I guess IRNA is not there. Oh, I remember. You know what happened? Iran government, Ayatollah Khamenei, they shut down. Look, Ayatollah Khamenei shut down the internet in Iran because it's too dangerous. What about that? What about the internet? Can you imagine this? In the middle of a war, not attrition, but a total war, one of the biggest war in history with a lot of missiles, F-35s, fifth generation jets, and then you are trying to resist using internet. Send an email or WhatsApp to anybody, and the US trying to kill you. Anyway. As usual, there's a streaming, but I'm going to read the news. Updates, live updates. Al Jazeera. Trump to decide whether U.S. to attack Iran, quote unquote, within 2 weeks. So 2 weeks. Savagery. This savagery is going to be worse than Iraq because we are going to see technology, war weapons are even worst or better, depending on your point of view. If you like war, well, this is paradise because weapons are terrible now. Updates. These were the updates on Israel's attack on Iran for Tuesday, June 19. Iran is just fighting back. By Alastair McCready, Stefan Killen, Uroba Jamal, Nils Adler, Ali Harb, Gillian Kessler Damors, June 19, 2025. This live page is now closed. You can continue to follow our coverage here. And there's a link there, the summary. Usually there's 2 summaries, but the first topic, the White House says US President Donald Trump will make a decision on whether the US will join in the Israel-Iran conflict in the next 2 weeks. Second, Israel Defense Minister Israel Katz says, quote unquote, eliminating Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is one of the country's war goals. And third, Iran missiles caused serious damage at 4 sites in central and southern Israel, including at the Soroka hospital, while Israeli forces attacked Iran's Arak heavy water reactor. US President Donald Trump says he is still weighing his options on United States military intervention in the escalating hostilities. And the last one, the death toll from Israel's attacks on Iran has risen to more than 240, including 70 women and children. At least 24 people have been killed in Iranian attacks on Israel. Oh, this is a day ago. Thanks for joining us.
Ah, no.
You can keep following Al Jazeera's live coverage of the Israel-Iran conflict here. Also, check out this analysis piece on what U.S. President Donald Trump's quote-unquote endgame is amid conflicting statements this week. Or if you are interested in Iran's Fordo nuclear facility, see our explainer on its significance here. A day ago. So today is like there's nothing new today. Here's what happened today. We will soon be closing this live page. Here's a look at the day's major events. First, Israel has continued its attacks across Iran, with the military warning residents of a small village in the country's northwest to evacuate ahead of expected bombings. Second, Iran has fired dozens of missiles at sites across Israel, including the Tel Aviv area and in Beersheba in the south. Third, the White House has said President Trump will decide within the next 2 weeks whether Washington will get involved in Israel's bombing campaign against Iran. Fourth, Iraq's Kataib Hezbollah and Iran-aligned group says if the U.S. joins Israel in its assault, it will suffer severe consequences. Iraq's, isn't it? But if you don't know, Iraq is a complete controlled country. The U.S. controls Iraq. The Iraq's oil. In Gaza, at least 92 Palestinians, including dozens of aid seekers, have been killed in Israeli attacks across the besieged enclave, the health ministry said. A day ago, how does Israel's censor restrict its media from reporting on the Iran conflict? The Israeli government has issued new directives restricting how its media covers its current war with Iran. On Wednesday, a circular from Israel's military censor, Brigadier General Kobi Mandelblit, announced new rules on what Israeli media organizations and journalists within the country can and cannot publish about the effect of Iranian strikes. According to figures from the International Federation of Journalists, IFJ, Israel has killed at least 164 journalists in Gaza since October 7, 2023. More have been killed in Lebanon, the occupied West Bank, and now Iran. Since May 2024, the Israeli government has banned Al Jazeera from its territory, and since November has sanctioned the Israeli liberal daily Haaretz for coverage considered critical of its actions. So, what are the new restrictions on journalists, and how does media freedom in Israel stack up against that in other countries? And there's a photograph. Professor Roe Osseri speaks to the media surrounded by rubble caused by an Iranian missile strike at the campus of the Weizmann Institute of Science on Sunday in Rehovot, Israel. A day ago, European stance making U.S. policymakers, quote-unquote, think twice, 3 times about plans. Interesting. Think twice, 3 times. Al Jazeera senior political analyst Marwan Bishara says Trump's decision to leave the door open for diplomacy may be linked to pressure from U.S. allies in Europe and his recent talks with Pakistan's army chief. French President Emmanuel Macron has been pushing for diplomacy to be given a chance. Bishara noted, quote, the other thing that the French president said is that he's totally and vehemently opposed to regime change, unquote, in Iran. Still, Bichara said European leaders will likely not be able to exert enough pressure to exchange the US position. Quote, but it does make policymakers in Washington think twice and three times and give it a week or 2 weeks to consider what they are doing, end quote, he said. Ultimately, if the US gets involved in Israel's bombing campaign against Iran, quote, then the Americans are going to need the Europeans. Bishara added, quote, if Trump wants to break up Iran, if he wants to do regime change, he's going to have to own it. There's no other way about it. And he doesn't want to invest anything in Iran. And it's going to be left to the Europeans, end quote, he said. Quote, the Europeans are saying from now, we don't want to get involved in regime change. We don't want to get involved in bombing nuclear reactors. What we want is a diplomatic pathway towards a solution. Well, I don't know why, but this is yesterday news, all of them. I don't know why. It looks like this is holiday all over the world, not just here in Chile, but to me it's very strange. But anyway,